Stage 19 of the Vuelta a España saw the peloton make their way from Las Rozas to Segovia, 145.5 kilometres with 2 Category 1 climbs. The first one, the Porto Navacerrada, the second, the Porto Navafria. It was on the second climb of the day that a lot of the action happened. There was a breakaway group of 14 that was up the road, containing 4 men from the Castapanya team, one of them being Joaquin Rodriguez, who was in 7th position in the general classification. That forced the Astana team to do a lot of the chasing. Then, for the first time in this year's Vuelta a España, Contador and Leipheim were isolated at the top of the climb. Cloden, Paulino and also Chechu Riviero managed to rejoin on the descent, however, to make sure that Contador and Leipheim were protected. Over the top of the climb, it was Julien Lobet, the young Frenchman on the AG2R team, that launched the attack in the hope of trying to get himself his first stage victory at the Vuelta a España. He was quickly joined by Vasily Kirienka, who was in yesterday's breakaway group and finished in 4th position, and David Arroyo went across to the group as well. Despite the fact that Arroyo was in the leading group of 3, he just sat on the back of the group as his teammates were doing the chasing from behind. The Castapanya team hoping that Valverde could get the stage victory, the time bonuses that went with that to move him into the top 5 in the general classification, as he's currently in 6th position, 11 seconds behind Robert Gissing of the Rabobank team. Lubey and Kirienka were getting frustrated with Arroyo, but it didn't change things at the head of the race. They just had to continue to work as they made their way past the old Roman aqueduct in the centre of Segovia, which was built around about the end of the 1st century BC and still stands to this day, some of the remnants of it playing such an important part in the tourism economy within Segovia. Inside the final 10 kilometres, and we saw Kirienka launch an attack from the leading group of 3. Arroyo was able to respond, not surprisingly, given that he hadn't done any of the work at the head of the race. Greg Van Avermaet came back in, calculations back in the main field, but at 1 kilometre to go, it was coming down to a battle between Kirienka and Arroyo. Kirienka had been doing all the work at the front. He wasn't able to find any last reserves as David Arroyo climbed over the top of the Belarusian to collect his first stage victory at the Vuelta a España. Kirienka was in 2nd place. Nick Noyens closed in for 3rd, and Valverde led home the peloton. So it was a good day out for the Castapanya team. It was Arroyo washing away the bitter memories from a 3rd place finish at stage 16 at this year's Tour de France, collecting this victory, the biggest in the 27-year-old's career. The champagne tonight for David Arroyo. But the gold jersey, that still remains with Alberto Contador. He takes 1 minute and 17 seconds into the individual time trial tomorrow, ahead of Levi Leipheimer.